Hello again, this is just a brief video about the two contrasting sounds on the two Derringer albums. Now, anyone who knows me will know that I'm far more interested in what people play rather than the technicalities of the sound, you know. But I don't want this to be half-cocked, you know. I want to do this to the best of my abilities because the albums mean an awful lot to me. And it'd be foolish to say that there wasn't a big difference between the sounds. Now, if I also said, here's what Rick and Danny played, I'd be close, but I'm kind of guessing, right? If you look at the pictures of that era, and there's not a great deal, there's not any video footage other than the reunion show. Well, Danny's playing a Black Les Paul, as a matter of fact. Rick, up to now, played Les Pauls with Johnny Winter. On Derringer Live, you can see he's playing a BC Rich Mockingbird. Loads of pictures of him playing live. Rick's got a Mockingbird. He's got a Rosewood board Strat as well. What amps he played through, I don't know. You know, maybe Marshalls. It's certainly ballsy enough. Maybe, you know, an American amp, like, you know, a Custom or a Burman or, you know, whatever was around at the time. Danny, on the other hand, to me, has a real, you know, a Junior through a Marshall sound, real classic rock sound. And I was saying to one of my friends, Colin, a couple of weeks ago, don't you think it's funny that in a sense Danny's sound has stood the test of time better? Now, that doesn't mean his sound is better or worse, but, you know, Rick's sound is kind of its time. And it's also worth bearing in mind that there weren't thousands of effects processors, or any effects processors, you know. So when you hear Rick play this heavily modulated sound that, you know, I'll get to in a minute, this kind of, that sound, yeah. As far as I know, there was, you know, there was the MXR, Phase 90, Phase 100. There was the Electric Mistress. There was the Neutron Biphase, be Copycats, an Echoplex, you know, and there'd be boost devices, you know, Proco Rat, very common at the time. I think Electro Harmonics had a pedal called the Dirty Finger. In fact, I'm sure I had one once, and on the front of it there was like a finger coming out of the sky, like God's finger, you know, shaking a lightning bolt at you, or some such stuff, right? So, although Danny's sound just, you know, it just sounds like a Junior cranked through a Marshall, and there's a bit of phasing on it, you know, at the start of Sailor, you can hear him with the face pedal. But Rick's sound is heavily modulated, and when I get through the videos, I'll try and reflect that. So that bit I just played was from a song called Comes a Woman, which is like, and then it's got the, right? Now, you can hear how modulated that is, right? At the end of Beyond the Universe, where they both play these back-to-back solos, again, Rick's sound, he's got a solo, Danny's got a solo, Rick's got a solo, Danny's got a solo. And Rick plays something, you know, they're in E flat. You know, Rick plays something like that, it's got all those effects in it, it's got loads of, you know, it's got loads of delay, and it's got a lot of, you know, you hear it flanging, you know, there's like, you know, this big modulation effect, and you hear it more pronounced right after that because the unaccompanied solos are in E flat. So when Rick then plays the C sharp, now, if you know the album, I actually think that's quite like it. You know, I'm playing a Junior, you know, through line 6. Now, if you bear with me 1 second while I twiddle the dials, which is not really my strong point, but we should now have a straight rock and roll sound. So at that same point, in the E flat, we're going. That bit starts in A sharp. It's got that bit, and it goes like F sharp, A, C, E flat. You know, it's a diminished scale, right? It's mapping out that. Now, when Rick's solo in E flat, that's the one I played a second ago, and it ends with him playing. Right? Now, the band don't go as you'd imagine they would. Danny plays this. Right? And then he plays a... Right? And then Rick plays that bit that I just played a second ago that's heavily, heavily flanged. Now I've got the reverb up as high as it'll go, and it's still nowhere near the level of what I would imagine was the reverb from the stadium or hall or wherever they were playing. Because after Rick plays the second bit, you know, this is it, you know, the bit, this is without the modulation. Right, Danny plays this. Right, and that's a composite because I've got 4 versions of that solo. I didn't play it very well there, I'll play it again. Right, that's the line he plays. You can hear how heavily drenched in reverb that is. And on Derringer live, after Rick's played, Danny plays this. This to me is one of the most elegant bits of guitar in music. Danny plays. And then he gives it. And he gives it a little bit of that kind of partial harmonic, right? So what I've tried to do there, I guess what I'm trying to do is say I will really try to concentrate on the sounds. I won't have like one sound set up and play everything, you know, which would be what I would lean towards. But I will try and get the sounds right, or as close as I can get them. But I think those last 5 minutes should suggest the difference between some of the times Rick had a very modulated, heavily delayed, or in those days it would be called echoed sound, and you know, Danny's just got the... There's a classic, you know, there's a classic rock sound. Okay, back to the drawing board.